family on YouTube, of course. But with that being said, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.